Hello everyone, welcome to this third video going through the semester review. This is your fourth day reviewing for that test, and I hope that things are going well for you. We're going to start off with number 19, which says, what is the slope of the line parallel to y equals negative 4x plus 5? They gave you the equation in slope-intercept form, and in slope-intercept form, the slope is just whatever number is multiplying x. In this case, we have negative 4 multiplying x, so m is equal to negative 4. There's our answer. 20 wants you to find the equation of the line parallel to this one. They gave you a point slope form line, and we're only going to need to kind of change it into slope-intercept. So we just need to distribute this 2. And now we can see what number is multiplying x. It is 2. If there was a coefficient like a 3, or if there was something else on this y, then we need to solve for it. Then we would need to move that variable, that coefficient over. But since there's nothing else multiplying in this question, that 2 is always going to be the slope. Now that we know the slope, we can start writing it into slope-intercept form, but we don't know what b is. It doesn't tell you any specific number to put for b, so we can just put anything. I'll put 2x minus 1. And number 21, we have write the equation for the line parallel to 3x plus 5y equals 11. Let me just write that. So that way we can start solving for this in slope-intercept form. I'll keep the y where it's at, and I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. Now I'm going to divide by 5 to each number. That way we get y is equal to negative 3/5 x. And remember, the goal of this question is to find a line that's parallel to the one they gave you. If we're finding a parallel line, we want a different y-intercept. We want the y-intercept to be something so that whenever we plug in negative 2 for x, we get 6 as the y. So to figure out what b needs to be, we need to put 6 for y, copy everything else, but instead of putting x, we're going to put times negative 2 and then plus b. We're now going to need to multiply negative 3/5 times negative 2. When you do that, you're going to do top times top. So negative 3 times negative 2 to get positive 6 over 5 plus b. If we want to solve for b, then we need to move the 6/5. Right now it's adding, so to remove it, we're going to subtract. 6/5 is actually 1.2, so we have 6 minus 1.2 to get 4.8 equals b. Now we just need to write that in our full equation, which is y equals negative 3/5 x plus 4.8. I'll go ahead and do number 24 next. The purpose of 24 is so that you can practice your order of operations skills. We will not distribute this 2 first because we have to simplify that exponent. 16 minus x is 4 squared. Then we can do 2 minus 4 to get negative 2. We needed to start with what was in the innermost parentheses. That's where you start with the order of operations. Now we can distribute this 2, and we can multiply the x and the negative 2. When we distribute this 2, we'll get 32 minus 2x. X times negative 2 will be negative 2x. Those are inside of brackets, and we have a 2 outside. We can combine the two negative 2x's to be a negative 4x. That's being multiplied by 2. And we're going to get 64 plus, no, not plus, minus 8x. And that'll be as simple as it can get. The first thing you should do in number 23 is, well, if you have a calculator, you could put all this in the calculator. 46 divided by 3 times 17 divided by 2, and you would probably want to put each one of these inside of a parentheses. The one thing that I would change is if I'm dividing by 17, if I am dividing by 17, that is the same thing as multiplying. We're going to change this, and we're going to flip it. So we're going to change the division to multiplication, and we're going to flip this 17 to be 1/17. Dividing by the whole number 17 is the same thing as multiplying by the fractional version of 17. When we do that, you can see that we will have, I'm just going to write the big fraction. This is all going to be equal to 46 times 17 times 1 over 3 times 2 times 17. The denominators of all the fractions will multiply together, and the numerators will also multiply together. But instead of actually multiplying it, we can look and see we have a 17 on top, 17 on the bottom. I don't know if 3 fits into 46, but 46 is divisible by 2, so let's simplify that to get 23 over 3, and that's going to be my final answer. You could change this to decimal form or a mixed number of 7 2/3, but I'm going to leave it as an improper fraction. Number 22 wants you to solve it for x, so that means let's move the 24. Copy what remains and do 8 minus 24 to get negative 16. We'll need to divide by negative 3 now. And that leaves you with x equals 16 over 3, or 5 1/3. In this next question, this is the entire left part of the equation, and this is the right part of the equation. And then they say plug in 2 for x. So 3 times 2 plus 5y minus, because we have plus some negative number, minus 3/5 x. But instead of putting x, we're going to put 2 equals 5. And then we want to solve this for y. So let's just simplify. 6 plus 5y minus 6/5 equals 5. We already know 6 minus 6/5 is. It's 4.8. 5y plus 4.8 equals 5. We'll subtract the 4.8. Five y is equal to 0.2. When we divide by 5, we're left with y is equal to, I think it's 0.04. What is the slope of the line in number 25? If we go back to this question, to solve number 26, we need to get the x's together, move them to the other side of the equation, and then get y by itself. So let's just start off by rewriting this in a place where we have some more room. 3x plus 5y minus 3/5 x equals 5. Okay, let's combine our x's. 3x minus 3/5 x. 3/5 is less than 1, so if you combine this with this, it'll make 5y plus 2 2/5 x equals 5. Let's subtract the 2 2/5. 2/5 is 0.4, so I'm going to subtract 2.4x. 5y is equal to 5 minus 2.4x. If we divide by 5 so that we get y by itself and have this in slope-intercept form, we'll get 1 minus, let me use my calculator, 1 minus 0.48x. This number that's multiplying x is our slope. Here we're going to change it into the algebra part instead of the word form. Twice the difference, so that means whatever's coming next is going to be what I'm subtracting, of a number and negative 8. We're doing a difference, but we're going to use a negative 8 in our difference. So that's what it's saying, which is actually equivalent to 2 times x plus 8. 22 more than, so we're going to plus the sum of x and y, x plus y. The reason that we're not using the inequality for more than is because in the context of this problem, we're not really comparing two things. If they told you that 22 was more than the sum of something else, then you would use the inequality symbol. It just says 22 more than, so that means we're adding this on to the next part. In number 22, you got to solve for x. What was the y value? Let's go back. And this one, we solved it for x, and we got 5 1/3. 24 minus 3x. And the x we had was 5 1/3. So let's do 24 minus 3 times 5 1/3. That's minus 15.99. But really, if it's a third, I'm going to round this to 16. Because thirds are infinite decimals, they're repeating. It would basically, if you worked with the fraction version, it would have made 16. 24 minus 16 is 8. So the y value of this is 8. If you don't get number 29, I am okay with that for right now. An undefined slope may have an equation of this. So if you graphed y is equal to 4, is this undefined? No. This is 0 slope. What is the value of x? So let's solve this for x. Multiply by 3 over 4 to remove that fraction. X is equal to 24 over 4, which is 6. When do these lines intersect? If we're finding when they intersect, then we need to set the two parts equal to each other. 4/3 x minus 4 is equal to y, and y is also equal to 4. Then we can ignore the middle part, and we have that 4/3 x is minus 4 is equal to 4, and that looks just like the one in number 31. So I already know that x is equal to 6, and all I need to do is plug in 6 and see what happens. Four-thirds of 6 minus 4 is equal to 4 times 2 minus 4, which is 8 minus 4, which is finally gives us the answer of 4. So in these two equations, when you graph them, they're going to intersect at an x of 6 and a y of 4. In this question, there's the straightforward way of doing it, and there's the easy way of doing it, which is 14 is multiplying and 14 is dividing. So let's simplify that Then we have two negatives. Those will make a positive. 15 times 3 is 45. We have no like terms, so all we can do is distribute this 1/4 to each part. That's 16 divided by 4, 12 divided by 4, 4 divided by 4, and we're done. Solve this one for A. We should distribute first. Then we'll get our A's on the same side. I'm going to add the 9 A's to the left and subtract the number 12 from both sides. On this one, I'll get 33. On the left side, 4 plus 9 is 13A. The last step is simply divide by 13. Simplify this by plugging in those numbers. Do it by hand. 4, negative 13, plus negative 12, over 2 times negative 3. First, you do what's inside the parentheses, so negative 25. Both of those numbers were negative, so it made them more negative. Equals. Okay. Now let's do a little bit more. Let's do 4 times negative 25. Negative 100 over negative 6. That's going to make a positive number. And I'm going to reduce both by 2. And that's as far as you could go fraction-wise, or you could change it to be 7 1/3. Find the 22nd term. So that means we just need to see, is this arithmetic? Hopefully it is. Plus 7, plus 7, plus 7. Okay, so then the formula. To write the formula, A22 will be equal to the first number plus 22 minus 1, because it's n minus 1, times 7. So 2 plus 21 times 7, that's 2 plus 7, 147, which makes 149. Last one. We need to get x by itself. You should start by getting rid of the denominator. So we'll multiply by 3. We'll copy what's left over, and 6 times 3 is 18. Then I think we should divide by the 2, because that fits evenly into 18. Let's distribute the 4. That gives 28 minus 4x equals 9. Now we'll subtract the 28. Negative 19. We'll divide by negative 4. And we get x equals 4.75. And we're done. Okay. If you finished all of that review on your own in one day, congratulations. You are becoming very awesome. I did say that I expect it to take you some time. So if that took you an hour, that's normal. I hope this video helped you. Have a good rest of your day and continue reviewing.